Today is National Pirate Day. Welcome to the Flint Catholic Podcast. We did it. We did the intro.
I was almost losing it on that one.
It only took us 3 failures. This was try number 4 to get that intro correct. So we got it. Happy National Pirate Day.
National Pirate Day. I didn't even know that till the morning announcements today.
Yeah, I found out this morning that it's National Pirate Day. So in celebration of it being National Pirate Day, I've got my own copy of the Pirate Bible. The Pirate Bible. You may be wondering, what is the Pirate Bible? Well, I kind of like this because it is the first, at least what they claim it is, this is the first AI translated Bible. So this entire Bible was not translated by a human being. It was translated by computers. So, and you've read it. What do you think of it so far? What do you think of what you've heard?
If you speak this in like plain English, it makes no sense. So I think if you read it to our listeners, you're going to have to give it a little bit of pirate accent.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
This is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6. Avast, ye scallywags, heed me words. Don't be showing off your charity afore humans, lest ye want no reward from the Heavenly Father. 'Tis a waste of your efforts, truly. When you're performing your good deeds, don't go a-boasting o'er it like them hypocrites doth in them synagogues and streets. They be doing it so they can get some glory of men, but they all be getting the reward they rightly deserve. But when ye scuttle booty, let not your port hand know what your starboard hand be doing. Let your charitable deeds be done in secret, and your Father who watches in secret will reward ye openly.
Very
it's
nice. See, good. And the way it's written is like, if you speak that in plain English, you're like, what am I saying?
Yeah,
it
doesn't work.
Pretty impressive. Now, the formatting is kind of bad because it is strictly just like an AI translation.
Yeah.
So if you read through it, it's just like word, verse,
yep.
And there's no explanation or like really denoting what everything else is.
There's no footnotes, there's no nothing, it's just the straight up translation.
It is impressive.
But it's good. So get your hands on the Pirate Bible. We are not sponsored by the Pirate Bible, but I thought it was kind of fun.
I mean, it's National Pirate Day.
It is National Pirate Day, so this is how we celebrate National Pirate Day.
Yep.
What we really want to talk about today instead is we want to talk about youth ministry.
Ooh.
Yes. You're involved in youth ministry?
Correct.
I mean, I'm technically involved in youth ministry too, but like what we want to talk about today is parish youth ministry. What happens at the parish level? So what we do here is at the school level, right? The kids are here every day. We do youth ministry, campus ministry here at the school, but there's also youth ministries at the parish. So tell us a little bit about your youth ministry and what youth ministries are available in the city.
Yeah, so I'm the youth minister at St. Robert's in Flushing. I've been involved with that ever since I was a freshman in high school. At the time, it was Mr. Nick Babosik that ran it, who currently teaches here at Powers. He's a big mentor to me and everything. And so we always would meet Sunday nights. Typically, it would be after, we used to have a 6 o'clock Mass. Maybe eventually we'll bring it back. But it was an opportunity to go to Mass then, and then come to youth group. And we talked about a host of things at youth group. When I was there, we would talk about different sacraments and how they relate to our lives more. So it's more so like diving into things that we had already learned. Other things, like this summer, I hosted a series called Made Good, and I really focused on the things of theology of the body and how it can apply to, my generation or like the back half of my generation. And what I mean by that was like, this world kind of like tells you what you are or what you should be. And it's not true. We're made in the image of likeness of God. We're made good inherently, and there is such great things that we can do. And if we partner with God, we can do just amazing things. We don't have to listen to like, if you don't do this or that, you're a failure in this world. And I think those are really good applicable things that it's stuff that I needed to hear, and it's stuff that I hope that the high schoolers needed to hear. I think a lot of the high schoolers, really liked it. There was really good feedback of it. But really, it's an opportunity. The youth ministry is not just at St. Robert, but other parishes, to kind of connect to your parish for one, and also, during the summer, that was when I did this Made Good series. Keep things that are inspirational in your faith while you're away from maybe Powers here. Or if you don't go to a Catholic school, you're still getting good formation and good, lessons on how can I make my faith my own.
So you're telling me that you don't just play games and eat pizza the whole time?
Not the whole time. There is a
But you
lot
do?
of Little Caesars involved.
Yes,
oh my
Little
goodness.
Caesars is great. It is, right? But you do still play games too, right?
Absolutely.
Have a lot of fun?
Yeah, we tried a ton of different games. This past time we tried, well, not this past time, but we've tried a game called Protect the President, which is like
that's a great game.
modified
I love that game.
dodgeball.
I love
We've done that. But our biggest game, and this is something that St. Robert's plays with Holy Redeemer every year.
And John's not here, so we could talk about it.
We can call it. So usually I like to be neutral, and we call it our sport. So the thing was whoever wins the game gets to call it either Robert Sport or Redeemer Sport. And this was an invention of, I think,
Dan Schmidt,
who used to be the youth minister at Holy Redeemer. And
so this is a game between Holy Redeemer and St. Robert's.
Yep, annually. And it is essentially ultimate frisbee and soccer on the same field at the same time. Now you have two different teams. Like, so St. Robert has a soccer team and a frisbee team playing, and Holy Redeemer has the same. And while you're doing that, all of the frisbee players are dodging water balloons that are coming at them. And then if you are one of the goalies, not only do you have to stop the soccer ball, the frisbee, but at the end of the quarter, you have to basically run.
You have to run to the opposite side.
We have to run to the opposite side during the game.
Yes.
But at the end of each quarter, 2 points, as soon as they call it like at the end of the quarter, it's basically a free-for-all tag. So you have to try and outlast the opposing team's goalie from getting tagged.
So the Robert players are trying to tag the Redeemer goalie.
Yes. All 10 Robert players to go to the goalie.
And they call it the snitch.
They call it
from,
a snitch, yep.
From Harry Potter.
So the game actually used to be called Quidditch, but that was just because they couldn't find a fill-in name.
Correct.
And then when we started going back and forth, it was like, it's going to be our sport. Not to brag, John, but you're not here. So I think 8 out of the 9 years or 7 out of the 8 years, whatever the count is, it's been Robert Sport.
And you currently hold the trophy?
We do currently hold the trophy.
Yep.
I didn't bring it here today. We had a very, very fun game this year, though. I was just pleased we can make it happen, because last year when I first came into the role at St. Robert, I didn't have enough planning time to get it done. So I was like, okay, technically that's a forfeit on us, so we can call it Redeemer Sport. But John and Holy Redeemer were very good sports about it, so we just referred to it as our sport.
Yeah,
so.
It's had some iterations over the years. So I've been involved in our sport for quite a long time now. There's a year where they had a chess match going right off to the sideline.
Yep.
And they had like one player from each side, and that would generate points as well for whoever won the chess match. And there's been a lot of different interesting tweaks along the way. Let's do this. Let's add this to it.
One of my favorite tweaks actually is, instead of a kickoff whistle, they have Dan still is one of the head referees, which is good. It's his game, right?
It's true. I've reffed a couple of times too.
Yep. And so what they do is they give out a math problem. And, when it comes down to 0, when the equation is 0 or equals out 0, that's when you can go and do it. So, like, kids are in their head like, wait, is this right? Is this not? Is this right? And if they go early, they're going to lose a point or get penalized. So quick thinking while you're also, like, trying to lock in on doing frisbee or soccer. And it's really good. And one of the things I love is it kind of encapsulates, like, youth ministry is a lot of, like, on the go, like, dynamic things, right?
Yep.
There is not one Sunday that is exactly like another when I have a Sunday night group. Same with, like, games and everything. Just because life's not like that, right? I think a lot of youth ministry is like, here's what, like, life is, and here's how we walk through it with Christ. And so, like, there's different things that are thrown away. So if I'm like, hey, we're playing Protect the President today, or we're playing, what's another game we play? We played Spud. I don't know if you've ever played Spud before.
It sounds familiar.
So it's like we're in the gym and someone throws a dodgeball up and they call a name, and whoever's name gets called gets to catch it, and as soon as they catch it, they yell Spud, and then the player who originally threw the dodgeball up tells them how many, like, steps they get to go in one direction of the players. And when the player grabs the ball and yells Spud, everyone has to freeze and they cannot move. So, like, if they're trying to dodge it, they can't move back and forth. Like, the best type of, like, dodging would be like a Neo, like, dodging bullets and everything. And so just throwing different things out there to have fun, like, I don't know. Like John Paul II says, life with Christ is a wonderful adventure. That doesn't mean different things aren't going to get thrown into you in life. And so it's good. It's good bonding. It's good life lessons. I like doing like games that kind of have a little lesson to them too. And then we have time of fellowship. We eat, we have fun, but then we have time to like lock into different things that we want to do, whether it's going through, the Bible. Actually, the series that I'm currently doing right now is, how different Old Testament events relate to our lives. The most previous one was the Tower of Babel, which was pretty cool to see. And then pretty cool to talk about how like Pentecost is almost a fulfillment of that too. And so we'll walk through that, but just kind of diving deeper into, here's things about our faith, or here's things about the scriptures. How do they relate to us? And I think I'm in a pretty unique position where, I don't know, I'm not exactly like every Gen Zer today, but I know what it's like being in high school. And I actually, up until I got this job, I was still helping with the youth, or the St. Robert youth group, my high school time, being there, college time, helping there, and now being the youth minister there. I got to see like the progression of it, and a lot of things change, but the hunger for Jesus is still there, and the hunger for the fellowship and the faith is still there.
In the end, that's what it's all about, right? All the games, all the food, all the Little Caesars that we eat.
Oh, yes.
All of that is so that these kids would know Jesus. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point in the end. That's what we want to do. And whatever way reaches them, whatever way gets them to get excited about that and interested in wanting to dive deeper, that's what we're here to do. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. And I would say, like, that's one of the things that led me to take this job was I loved doing it on Sundays, especially within this past year. I've really felt the Spirit working in my ministry. And like, I liked subbing here when I subbed here. And I'm like, why don't I just, okay. In my heart, I said this, right?
That wasn't just a voice in your head. That was me telling you that.
I know, you said this all last year, right? But I took a long, hard, thought about it and prayed about it. And what I got in prayer was, I'm like, God said, I will bless you in either thing you want to do. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I would love to have this type of opportunity every day. Now, it's not the exact same as parish youth ministry. It's a different ballgame in some sport, like some things, but the overall goal in helping to bring kids to Jesus, or even just have them like start to grow their little relationships with him, like that, and being here every day has been great too.
Yeah.
So definitely.
So when do you guys meet?
So St. Robert Youth Group meets at 7 p.m. on Sunday nights, most Sunday nights. You can actually follow us on Instagram. I believe it is, oh no, I'm going to have to pull out my phone for this. I should know this. I didn't make the account, so.
That's right. Well, we'll put it in the show notes. Go ahead and pull it out.
I will see. But we meet from 7 until 9 every Sunday. Now, usually that last half hour just ends up becoming like an open gym. So more time for fun, more time for whatever game we can come up with. We ended up playing spoons for 45 minutes. And then we came up with like extreme spoons where we're like, you hide like the spoons out in the hallway and everywhere around. But just, it's a great time, and it's a great way to just wind down before the start of a new week, or a new school week, I should say.
So what's that handle?
The handle is at St. Robert YG, and you'll find a lot of the information about it. I post for it every Sunday. I try to, at least.
Yeah.
Originally, I said to my students, like, hey, you can make content for it. I'll moderate it and post it. And it's just been me making content. But it is really fun, right? It's good to market. I think it's a good way to get to the kids. So that's 7 to 9 Sunday nights.
Do you know when Redeemers is?
Redeemers is around the same time, I believe, because they have a 5 p.m. Sunday Mass. And I think that
they start right after that Mass.
They start right after. So I think it's actually like 6:15 until 8:30, I believe.
Something like that.
That sounds about right. It's within that time. So Sunday evening seems like a pretty big theme.
Yep.
I know there's St. John Fenton has one too with...
I think that's Sunday afternoon.
Okay, that's what we came to?
I think it's Sunday afternoon. It's not on their website either. So please fix your website. That is a deep plea from my heart. Fix your website, please. We need to know. But I think it's Sunday afternoon.
But Alan Day, who runs that, was very, very helpful for me when I first came in last year, because I knew a lot about youth ministry, but then as soon as I started doing things, I was like, how do I overcome this? What do I do? And so I'm so grateful to him, because he sat down with me to have, brunch, and we were just talking about different things he did, it's okay to stumble in doing these things because you're still learning too. And ultimately, like, I found that it's not just me helping others to grow a relationship with Christ. It's a lot of like Christ being like, trust me, follow me. And it's built my own relationship with him. Like it's there's no real good way to put that, but it's been the most influential thing with my own walk with Christ is taking on these roles, trusting in God and leading those things.
Amen. Well, good. Well, check out the youth ministries. If you have a high schooler, or if you are in high school and you haven't checked out any of these youth ministry programs, go ahead and check them out and let us know what you think of them. Yes. After the break, we are going to talk about Pope Francis a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about Pope Francis, and he recently did a 13-day trip, and we're going to talk about that after the break. Just one announcement this week. We've got Kairos coming up, so all parents of juniors and all junior students, make sure you get that registration in. The registration is live on our website, powerscatholic.org/retreats, powerscatholic.org/retreats. And if you're a senior who wants to be a leader on that, get those applications in ASAP, because we're going to start training right away. Pretty much next week, we're going to start training for that. So get those applications in next week and send your kids to Kairos Retreat. They're awesome. I can't wait to go. That's going to be on October 14th through the 16th is the retreat itself. October 14th through the 16th.
Oh.
Hey, welcome back to the Flint Catholic Podcast. I'm making sure our guys over here have their microphone on. It's not on? It's number 3. Should be number 3. All right, so.
They're just going to hear a bunch of taps into the mic.
Bunch of taps into the mic. That's okay. As long as you guys speak as well. Hey, I have a question for you three. We got 3 students behind the scenes here. How old do you think Pope Francis is?
Absolutely no clue.
No clue? 75? Leo, what do you think?
86.
86. 86 is close.
That's a very good guess.
Pope Francis is 87. He's 87 years old. He looks pretty good for 87, right?
He does.
I would like to look that good at 67.
Right. Definitely.
So 87-year-old Pope Francis goes on a large missionary trip to Asia. He goes to 4 countries, is it? So I got an article here from Catholic News Service, and they kind of talk about the trip a little bit. So from September 2nd to the 13th, so it's a 12-day trip. And he went to Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, East Timor, and Singapore. 4 countries in Asia in 12 days at 87 years old. That is... First of all, I just want to stop there and go, that's incredible.
It is.
That's pretty good, because like that would, even like I'm 35, that would wipe me out at 35 years old. And so
a 1-day retreat wipes me out.
That we just had our sophomore retreat on Tuesday, and whew, boy, that was a lot of work, but well worth it as always.
Well worth it, absolutely.
Well worth it. So, he calls these, according to the article, Pope Francis says these trips are apostolic journeys, right? He doesn't call them like trips or, vacations or anything. He calls them apostolic journeys because it's not a tourist trip, but a journey to bring the word of the Lord, to make the Lord known, but also to get to know the soul of the people. And that is very beautiful. I think that's great that the Pope takes these trips to places that popes typically don't go to, just so he can get to know the soul of the people that Absolutely. He is in charge of shepherding. Like, he wants to go there and see, okay, what are they like? What is their culture like? And how can I be a better pope to them? Mm-hmm.
And this was something that John Paul II kind of pioneered too, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
My gosh, yes.
Like, I can't remember. yeah, I can't remember all of the things, and I wasn't alive for a lot of his papacy, but he is my confirmation saint, so shout out JP too. But just the idea of a pope like going around worldwide and just engaging with the people like on an apostolic journey. That's a great name for it, by the way.
Yes.
I think that is a really good thing, because it not only is just like, you know, our home, the church, and the Vatican. It's like our, Holy Father, the Pope coming to our place and getting to experience it. Like the idea of having World Youth Days, right? There will be a World Youth Day in Korea, correct?
Yes.
So World Youth Day in Asia, the next World Youth Day. So having that opportunity to move, it'll be just, and move around and do that ministry is cool.
I like that analogy used, and I want to like take it a little bit deeper and like really flesh out that analogy. It's like if it's cool to go to a Michigan football game and like see Jim Harbaugh on the sideline, right?
Right.
But it'd be really cooler if Jim Harbaugh came to your house.
Right, exactly.
Right? How much cooler would that be? And that's kind of what Pope Francis sees in this apostolic journey. Is, hey, I'm going to go to them. They don't need to come to me, but I'm going to go to them, which is cool. He continued on. He said, some people are still too Eurocentric when they think of the Catholic Church. But his visit showed that the reality is that the church is much bigger than Rome or Europe, and let me say much more alive in those countries. That's interesting, right?
That is interesting.
Certainly that first part is absolutely true, that the church is much bigger than Rome, much bigger than Italy, than the Vatican, all of that. And it's cool to visit those places, but certainly if you're there and you spend all your time there, you can kind of start to get narrow field of vision, right?
Right.
If your mission is to shepherd the entire church, all of the people on the planet, it's a good thing for him to get out, get moving, see the people, and not get tunnel vision, which is just a natural human thing to do.
Right.
And so I want to hit on that second half of that quote from Pope Francis. Let me say, much more alive in those countries. And that's interesting. That's pretty cool that he notices that, and I wonder if he's really blown away by the different culture and how they express the faith in their countries.
Right.
Now, one of the countries, and I forget which one, it said it in the article, one of those countries is the highest percentage of Catholics in the country in the world.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And so, there's certainly something to be said about, wow, this is the biggest. So Indonesia, right, it's the largest number of Muslims in the world. He went from Indonesia to Papua New Guinea. Which one did it say had the biggest?
But that's one of the really good things, too, is, like you were just saying, and that he's probably recognizing is, you go around the world, not everyone lives the same.
Yeah.
So everyone's experiences are different, and therefore, naturally it would flow that their experience with Christ or how they build their relationship could be different. And in that way, maybe there's, I don't know, ways of people connecting with the Lord that we don't even think of, because we're very wrapped up in, our Americanization or Westernization.
This is the way we've always done it.
Right.
Ugh, that phrase hurts my ears. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because the way they do it in Indonesia is going to be different than in all these other places. He says, I received confirmation that compassion is the path that Christians can and must walk to bear witness to Christ the Savior, at the same time to encounter the great religious and cultural traditions. So he said, while he was in Indonesia, he received that confirmation. That a Christian without compassion is worthless, Pope Francis said.
It's very, bold, but I can't disagree.
Right? A Christian without compassion is worthless. So the Indonesian bishops, they chose the motto faith, fraternity, compassion for that trip, for that apostolic journey.
Wow.
And I think that absolutely sums up his part of the visit. And that's why I think he chose to really talk about compassion for a while there. In Papua New Guinea, he told the crowd he was impressed by the dedication of the missionaries, including a group of priests and women religious from Argentina. Of course, that's where he is from, so got to call out the Argentinians if you're Argentinian. And the catechists who are the primary evangelizers. In the nation's young people, he said, I saw a new future without tribal violence, without dependency, without economic or ideological colonialism, a future of fraternity and care for the wondrous natural environment. So he sees the young people really rising up and taking a hold of their faith in their own country. East Timorese. The East Timorese are a people who not only bear a lot of children, they were a sea of children, but to teach them to smile.
Wow.
Right, but also teach them to smile. So I love that quote. That quote is great. Right. There were a sea of children. This is when he said that when he came back to Rome and was talking about his trip to the people in Rome. He's like, there were a sea of children, and that's awesome, right? So cool.
Brings his heart delight right there.
Right, but also to teach them to smile. He saw the youthfulness of the church there, families, children, young people, many seminarians, and aspirants to the consecrated life.
Wow.
I'm not exaggerating when I say that I breathed the air of springtime.
That's big, because there's a lot of places you can go and be like, there needs to be a type of renewal here, like a young renewal.
Yes.
And just to go there and immediately like, this is it.
The air of springtime. That's pretty good. And then the last country on his trip, he said, while a wealthy Singapore was a contrast to the 3 other countries, he said the country's Catholic minority forms a lively church engaged in fostering harmony and fraternity between the various ethnicities, cultures, and religions. Even in wealthy Singapore, there are the little ones who follow the gospel and become salt and light, witnesses to a hope greater than what economic gains can guarantee. So it sounds like his apostolic journey was very fruitful. It breathed some freshness into him to see the youth of the church. And I want to finish by mentioning a quote that Pope Francis said, that he said that this is the trip as an old pope he got to take, that as a young Jesuit he never got to take.
Okay.
So as an old pope, he gets to take this journey to Asia, because as a young Jesuit, he wanted to be a missionary in Asia.
Really?
And he wasn't able to do that. He ended up staying in Argentina, became bishop and all that. And so his life path, where for a long time he wanted to be a missionary in Asia, wasn't able to do it. He's like, I'm 87. It's time to do it as Pope, which is very cool. So he got to fulfill kind of one of those dreams that he's always had, to go to Asia and to preach the gospel there.
Right.
That's what he got to do.
I can only imagine like him praying about that way back when he was a young Jesuit and being like, I would love to go to Asia, and God being like, guess what? I have such a cool plan for you that you'll be getting to go to Asia when you're a pope, like
that's right.
That's just the way that I feel like God works in those things. He's like, okay, I see what you want to do, but
I will fulfill that in 50 years.
When you're pope, like something crazy,
That is awesome. Yeah, because God, I'm sure God made him a promise at that point, yeah, you'll do that. And sometimes we just got to wait. Yep. Hopefully it doesn't take 50 years for God to fulfill all the plans, but hey, if that's what it takes, I'm willing to wait.
Right. If it's in his time, that's what we got to do.
That's exactly right. Very good. Well, that's all I got for this week's episode of the Flint Catholic Podcast. We will see you all next week.